Hello guys, you're welcome to your number one YouTube channel. My name is Eunice Achieng. Happy New Year to you all. It's another new year full of positivity and inspirational stories. And today's show, we have a guest who is going to inspire the story on how he became a successful secondary school director and also owns some various businesses. After all the challenges he faced in life, he once tried Kitenge business and also did nguru business just to make ends meet. As you're about to listen to his story, I hope you get motivated and inspired. And please, as you stay tuned, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share. Kindly tell a friend to tell a friend. You can come with me. Let's go and meet him at his business premises. Hello, we have our guest here and he's going to introduce himself. And let me not take much of your time. Let me just talk to him. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Sante.
Karibu sana. I really appreciate for your coming.
Thank you.
Okay, tell us your name.
Peterside Otieno Juma. Those are my full names.
Okay, tell us how your childhood was, where you were born and where you were raised.
Okay. My childhood began in western Uganda. Let me say northern Uganda, in a place called Arua. And that is in late 80s when the war of 1986 had just come to an end, the war that brought in the current government of Yoweri Museveni. So in that first year, the second year, we had to leave Uganda because the economy of northern Uganda had gone down. There was a lot of threats of a secessionist group that was based in South Sudan threatening to come back. So we left Uganda and went to Eastern DRC Congo. And I think that's where I spoke my first language. I began speaking from Eastern DRC Congo.
And by then, were you staying with your parents?
Yeah.
Were you having siblings?
Yeah.
Were you, are you the first one?
No, I am the fourth one. Though one girl in between died, so I am now the third born. So we were raised, by the time we were going to Congo, we went myself and my mom. Our last born was born when we were in Congo. The other two siblings of mine, that's our eldest brother, plus the guy whom I follow, were left in Uganda with my dad. So we took some time in Congo until there was some calmness, because mom was trading in minerals by that time. That's in a place called Mahagi Port. And we were commuting to Mahagi Port, Mahagi Town. For some time, then we relocated back to Uganda. So I began my studies in a small fishing village called Wanseko in Burisa district. That's where I began my studies. And I did my class 7. And then went back again to northern Uganda in a place called Arua.
Just you, your mom, and the last one?
No. But when we came from Eastern Congo, the family was together. That's my dad, mom, and all my siblings. So we lived together until the time I finished my primary education. Then I went for secondary education in a school called Ombatini High School. That's in Arua. After my O-level education, then I joined A-level in St. Joseph's College, Ombachi. Then from there, after some time, is when between my O-level and A-level, right after Form 2, first of all, I lost my dad. My dad passed on when I was in Form 2, third term. So by the time I'm finishing O-level in Form 4.
How was life when you lost your dad in that period?
During the time he was there, we had all that we required. Our fee was being paid on time. We were living an average normal life. But the moment he passed on, things changed. Because I remember after finishing my fourth form, life became tough. And for information, my dad is a Kenyan who was sneaked from Kenya, from Siaya, in the Ariera district. He was sneaked from Kenya in his early childhood at the age of around 13 or 12. That's in the 1960s. He was sneaked and taken to work as a shamba boy for some Kenyan colleagues who were already there by that time. So he grew up knowing his origin and everything, being from there, but he had some little details about where his ancestry was from in Kenya. Yeah. So mom also is a Kenyan from Kisumu. Actually, my mom was born here in Mombasa and went to school in Charani, St. Charles Luanga, St. John's Girls, then went to Namasoli in Western Kenya, and then from there she went to her uncle in Uganda. So they met when she was pursuing gold business in Uganda. That's when she met my dad and they settled. So after my O-level, after our dad passed on, joining A-level became a problem, so I had to go into fishing. I fished for a year on Lake Alberta and River Nile, trying to source the school fees. Then from there I happened to join A-level because I passed well. I got first grade, so I qualified to join a top school in the north. By that time was St. Joseph's College of Machi, which I joined and pursued. And then after that, things again did not go very well after my session in Machi. Then the entire life in the college was not all that easy. Then later when I left and I came to Kenya. So my coming to Kenya was not basically...
You left with your family or just
no,
you alone?
I left Uganda alone.
And you had the courage like, to just leave Uganda and come to Kenya?
When I was coming to Kenya, one, I did not even tell anybody at home that I'm going to Kenya. My elder brother did not know, my mom did not know. The fact that I knew that my origin, my ancestral origin is in Kenya. My dad one time used to tell us that he comes from Yoma, Kobong. Though I had never set foot in Kenya. So I just packed and said I'm going to Kenya. There was a small notebook my father used to record things on. And when he died, I think out of the many things my brothers were scrambling on, me, that's the thing I only took from my dad. It was the most the notebook. Now in that notebook he wrote his genealogy. I don't know how he was able to cram his genealogy at that age, because he gave details of his ancestry. He could mention he's called John Aboru Otieno, son of Ogutu, son of Olui, son of Liare, son of Podo, son of Odirian. He mentioned those names up to the 13th one. I've forgotten some of them. And then he could specifically say his ancestry is Uyoma Kobong Pap Kodero. So when I had that book, to me I knew I had the compass direction to where I'm going. I came to Kampala. I'd come to Kampala some times back, so I knew some 1-2 way of maneuvering Kampala. Then I looked for how to get a bus to Kisumu. Then I entered, and again I had no passport. By the time I'm reaching Busia, it was terrible. The boy with whom we sat in the bus, after noticing everybody was getting their passports ready for the checkup, he looked into my eyes and asked me, "Where's your passport?" I told him I don't have. Then he asked me, "How sure you are going to cross?" I told him, "I'm going to cross, I'm going to Kenya." He said, "Yeah, I know you're going to Kenya, but how are you going to cross?" So he was worried of associating with me, because by that time the border restrictions were quite tough. So by the time we reached the border point, people were disembarking from the bus. I also disembarked normally. And everybody was lining up to produce their passport, to be stamped and everything. I stood for almost 20 minutes wondering what next. Then I took like 10 steps into the no man's land, because at first I was standing on the Ugandan side. Then I walked into the no man's land, where the customs side of Uganda is this side, the Kenyan customs office is that side, so there's that land between. So I went and stood there for some minutes. Then I noticed some women who were selling maize, bananas, crossing on foot. In my hand, I had my charger and the phone. So when I saw those women walking, I just walked as if we are together with them. And then the police,
so that you could sneak.
Exactly. The police officer who was there took no concern of me, because he thought I was together with those women. And I was just dressed casually. That's how I got myself into Kenya.
Just like that?
Yeah.
And they didn't even notice?
No. So when I got that side, This colleague who was afraid of me in the bus, after some minutes, he crosses and finally asked me, how did you cross? I told him, okay, we are going to Kenya. Let's not talk much. So from there, we continued and we arrived in Kisumu at 9 in the night. Upon arrival, no, it was at 8 in the night. Upon arrival, I did not know the directions, where to get the bus now.
It's a new place.
Yeah, it's a new place for me. And I didn't know the Kenyan Luo very well because I was speaking the Congolese Aluru and that of Uganda. The Kenyan Luo I knew, but was having most of the things I would speak, some of them were abusive in Kenyan Luo. Actually, there are so many things in Aluru language that if you speak in Kenyan Luo, they are very obscene words that you cannot speak before people. So I was also quite afraid to speak the Luo because most of my words are not.
They're abusive.
They're abusive, yeah. So I got a boda boda man. By that time, there were these bicycle boda bodas. Then I asked the man where the nearest guest house. He took me to one. So by the time I was paying him, I asked him how much do I pay him. The man tells me it is 30 shillings. And I'm like, you know, the lowest amount of money in Uganda, the smallest note was of 50 shillings. And it was just for buying a piece of sweet, one. And here is this old man who is asking me for 30 shillings. It was not making sense.
Yeah.
I gave him all the coins I had.
And how much was it?
I did not know. Because I was even wondering, at his age, he's in this darkness of the night, this cold, just working for 30 shillings. So I sympathized. I gave him all the coins I had. I'm sure the coins I gave him must be somewhere beyond 100. So after giving him that, then I entered the guest house, booked, slept. The following day in the morning, there was a lady who was in the guest house. I asked her, do you know where their vehicle is going to Uyoma? And she directed me to where to get the bus. I'll get matatus. That's how I entered. Finally, I was in Uyoma. And now I alighted at a place called Gaga. I do not know where I'm going next because now my dad only said he's from Uyoma, Pap Kodero. Then I remembered in one of the stories that resulted into him being snaked to Uganda, they used to have a strife with his brother. And he used to mention the name. It was called Amok. So I asked the name of that brother. Luckily enough, he was still alive. Then the Boda Boda man, again, there was a Boda Boda man I found there called, I can't forget his name, was called Odede. He carried me and took me, and we found the old man. So I was welcomed.
Your uncle.
My uncle now. He welcomed me home, everybody was happy. Then I introduced myself, and I took my first day. Second day, I was not seeing things very conducive in my eyes. You know, I'm used to the Ugandan life whereby food is in plenty, the environment is not all that hot, it is green everywhere. That very month I went, Uyoma was dry, really dry.
And
so
a lot of hunger.
Yeah, so when I wake up in the morning, the following day, I'm asking, where is so and so? There was a cousin of mine. I'm asking, where is he? I'm being told he has taken cows to go and look for water. The other one, where is he? He has gone to dig. And you know me, I've never done digging. All my life was either fishing or I'm in school. So I understand the lake and the river more than the farm. So when I told, I realized this place is not fit for me. Then I asked them, I hear my mom comes from a place called Seme. Is there anybody who knows about the place? They said, yeah, we were told your dad is married to a lady from Seme, and it is a place called Seme Kadero. Then they gave me the leads. I left, single-handed, came to a place called Game, traced my ways up to Seme, looked for my grandmother, and finally located her. So it was my grandma who told me that most of my uncles are in Mombasa. And that's how now I took off coming to Mombasa. And when I'm coming to Mombasa, the money had got finished. The last bit of my coin was 10 shillings.
Kenya shillings?
Yeah. It got finished at Nakuru. Now I was spending money not knowing the value of Kenyan money. So the money got finished in Nakuru. I was left with 10 shillings. I used to buy banana. So I literally entered Mombasa empty-handed. And the biggest asset I had when I was entering Mombasa was, please call me. because that was what I used to signal my aunt that I had arrived. They called and told me, if I'm at Mwembe Tayari, let me look for a building called Nawal Centers, and I stand in front of it. So I went and I stood there. That's why they picked me. So on arrival, you know, by the time I'm in Western Uganda or in Eastern DRC, when somebody's mentioning about Mombasa, it's like you're in Mombasa, somebody's talking about Dubai. So there's this bigger picture of Mombasa, which I had. Even when I was entering, I knew my aunt must be living in one of the tall buildings I'm seeing around. So when they came to pick me from Mwembetayari and we are walking, we are in the matatu coming, I was wondering, we are leaving the town behind us. Where are we going next? Finally, we came and entered Kwahola, and we ended up in some small single room. It's a Swahili building. That's where my aunt was staying. So I had to appreciate the situation, because just I told you, she was living in a single room, and that's where she was. She had a daughter, she was married, the spouse was there. So I had to begin thinking outside the box. Yes, I was seeing opportunities everywhere. I would see possibilities of having jobs and everything, businesses, but I had almost 4 limitations. I did not know the language. I didn't have a Kenyan ID because my parents were Kenyans, but they have been living outside. They've never acquired their citizenship cards. And then I also had the Swahili issue, and I also left my academic papers in Uganda. So with all these limitations, I had to settle to do whatsoever I would do as I keep on adapting up to the society and the community. So I realized my aunt had a kibanda. She was selling food, and at home we were taught by our mom that when you're living with somebody, no matter what they are doing, as long as there's something evil, regardless of your standards or social status, please make sure you don't just sit to wait to be fed in that house. Always do something as a child. So I tried to fix myself into what my aunt was doing, to go and help her, but she was constantly discouraging me because of maybe she didn't feel comfortable having me.
Because you're also on a visitor.
Yeah. But one morning when she was still asleep, after I already known where she's working, I knew most of the components she was carrying going to work with, carrying wheat flour,
some
cooking oil, beans, all those things required for a small cafe or hotel. So I woke up in the morning and carried those things, not telling her.
All alone?
Yeah, I just carried them on my head, went there, I lit the jiko, the oven, put beans, I lit another one, put milk, I began rolling the chapati because I had seen how she was rolling them. I began rolling the chapati, did everything. So by the time she was waking up at 6, she was shocked not to see me in the house. She was like, what's not happening? She tried calling me. I told her, Mom, I'm already this way, I've arrived. So she came and she found me doing that. And that's the time now she incorporated me and accepted me to be helping her. So that became my first work in Mombasa. I was helping my aunt in the Uganda thinking. I learned most of the Swahili and everything, how to interact with people from that place. Then, because of that small residence nature, I later left my aunt's place. I went to live with another aunt. But this time again, her house was slightly wider because it was a single bedroom house. The living room was very big. We were putting up in the living room. But again, there was another challenge. Aunt was selling alcohol, the local brew. So you call it changa locally. So again, this became quite another kind of challenge. I came from Uganda when I was not drinking, and at home alcohol was totally discouraged. Though at some stages of my teenage life, I didn't test alcohol, but this time I had not wanted to find myself in that surrounding again. Now here I'm with my aunt. She's the main provider of everything, and she becomes the only source of my livelihood. So in the bid of also trying to make sure I lay my hands on trying to help her do at least one. So I don't just want to sit in this house and look at a bother or at a burden. So she keeps sending us. We will sometimes go to one of the shores of the trees. was before the port was extended. We go there, carry charcoal from a place called Sunza, and Mkokoteni, push the Mkokoteni up to Migalini. Yeah, me and Hassan. Once we have brought the charcoal, then the charcoal was used to boil the kana to prepare the distillation process. Then we ferry it home. After ferrying it home, then that's what is used. So I did that for some time. Then when I became quite so much concerned with matters of church, because I got born again in a house. Okay? So when I became quite touched with matters of church, I felt it was inconvenient. It wasn't some inconvenience in my spiritual life. I had to leave. So I left and went to stay with another cousin who was a photographer. So I stayed with him, and in his house again, he was living in a single room. So he gave me a kitchen. I was living in his kitchen. It was a small kitchen. That was my bed. I would wait, they finished cooking. Once everything is done, when I get to the kitchen, I sleep. Yeah. The following day again in the morning, when they want to start cooking, they will come, wake me up, and do the hour. So that went like that until one morning when I was, because I used to get out every day, 8 minutes before, but I was not getting doing. So one day, while I'm there, a cousin of mine called Abel walks to me and says, bro, there's an opportunity. There's a school in the neighborhood that some teachers have left and they want teachers. Do you mind going to grab your desk? So I went to Mississippi Academy. It was just a month. When I went there,
But you didn't have any experience.
no, I had never done teaching. I just went there because, one, I have nothing to do. I have really tried looking for jobs. I would go to a refinery place where the refinery is. By that time, council is here in the foreign company to be that side. Uganda property holding is totally to that side. I used to go to places, sometimes we go and sit the whole day and you come back, no job. So this time I went and I met the director. And one good thing that he noticed out of me was my eloquence in English. So when we just spoke for like 10 minutes, he knew up that I can teach English. He really talk in favor. Then he called the head teacher at that time was a gentleman called Otelo. Called Otelo, please, can you take me for trials in class 6? So I was taken to class 6, and out of nowhere I passed the first interview. They brought me back. Now, the hurdle became I didn't have an ID. So when they told me, Peter, actually they never called by my name. They just said, Mwalimu, you have met all the requirements. I need just go and bring us your papers. So in my papers I left in Uganda, then carried the papers. And they were like, don't you have an ID? Bring us your ID, because we can't control you without any. I said, okay. So I went home and I called my cousin. Bro, I think you look alike. He was like, what do you mean? I said, I want to use your ID. He looked at me and said, my ID, how? I said, yeah, I have got a job, but I don't have an ID. So he gave me his ID. But chances are very high of being arrested.
Yeah.
And in case you are arrested, please don't mention it. So I went with his ID, issued the ID. When they received it, they just asked me to go and work. Okay? Me and my cousin, by that time, I don't know if we moved so close or what. I didn't have time. But we returned until now. So because of that, they took the ID and told me to make a photocopy. I made a copy, go to them. And the next thing was, I am a teacher. Now, the problem was, I was being told by my cousins, Sepanaya Okongo.
So you couldn't tell it your leader. Because the ID.
Yeah, because the ID.
Yeah.
The other challenge was, and one funny thing is, they never asked my academic papers. because of the way I was confident and eloquent. And I explained that I left my papers in Uganda. So I would sometimes miss difficulties. You find the maybe talking at start, then somebody has come, he's calling me. Yeah. So when you find somebody there shouting, Mr. Okondo, please, Mr. Okondo, and it will go almost 4 times.
Before you get it.
Then I comment, no, Okondo is me. Then I was like, I will get started, oh yeah, tell me, my mind is far away. But in real sense, it's not my name. But it took me like 1 month or so. I became used to it because our kids were calling me so much to the moon. So that's how I managed to work. But I left Mississippi, unfortunately, after 7 months. And they could not pay some of my bills. Then I went and stayed home. This time again was very difficult because my cousin, my cousin had lost his dad. So he had traveled to the village and left me in the house. And in this house there was nothing except water. And I had not been paid. I remember sleeping hungry, waking up hungry, and again sleeping hungry, that house. Not once. Then one morning, I get up. Now I think my papers have been brought. I had some my current papers now. I went to, no, they had not been brought yet. They had not been brought. I wake up, I go to Highgate Academy. Inside of a job again. When at Highgate again, I did another lab. I met a woman called Madam Safe. She's late right now. So when I stopped to say, luckily enough happened to be Uganda. So when I told her I don't have my papers with me, she just asked me some sensitive questions to the Ugandan academic system, and I could answer all of them positively. Then she said,
But they didn't still using your cousin's ID.
yeah, everything just from my cousin. Actually, those whom I taught in Mississippi, and those whom I taught with, and at the same time in Highgate, all of them know me by the name of Okondo Zephaniah, which is not my name. So again, I'm absorbed at Highgate, but on demand, I have to present my papers after a month. So I made sure after working the past month, they didn't ask me again. Because I made sure I was working without a single error. When other teachers were coming to school at 6, I would arrive there sometimes at 5. When other teachers were leaving school at 4, I would leave Highgate sometimes at 7 in the evening. And sometimes teachers are involved in starting gossip and complaints of salaries and work. I was the most loyal guy in this staff. And highly became committed. I was being given donkey work, sometimes assigned students to teach extra remedial classes. I would take it positive because I knew my condition is more vulnerable. So until the time, it was 2009, when I talked to people at home. And they told me, yeah, you can come and process your ID. I went, I just picked the document and came and processed it from Mombasa, and I got my Kenyan ID. But it was too late for me to inform Highgate, so I did not inform them any details. Then my identity papers were also sent. They were mailed to me, so I had everything with me. And by the end of 2009, when I started in 2010, I left Highgate. So leaving Highgate, I saved some little money. And saving after the Highgate was very difficult because at Mississippi I was being paid 5,000 per month. At Highgate I was being paid 8,000 shillings. I was the least paid teacher. And when I really worked hard and I even brought in some students, because I was teaching marketing and doing everything. So when they increased my salary to 9,500, immediately they brought in NHIF and NSSF. They were still deducting, so I had no problem. But again, a cousin sister of mine came from the village and was supposed to join Highgate. Then she had few issues. She was a sister to the cousin I was staying with. So I could not see, he has accommodated me and his sister has failed to learn in this school because of school. So I just told the management, to be deducting
Your
2,000
salary.
shillings from my salary every month to pay her school fees. So my salary remained 6,500. And that's what I was getting.
That's why you get to pay your rent.
No, I was still living with my cousin.
Oh.
Yeah, I was still living in his kitchen. And when I get that 6,000, the first things I will make sure I have, I'm very much conscious about cleanliness. I make sure I have my shoe polish. And if there was a time I could not get the shoe polish. And I learned how we did it in science fair school. So I would just go. There are very many trucks parked around. I got the truck exhaust. And I get that suit. If you melt the suit with candle, wax, plus some Vaseline, when it dries up, when it cools down, that's the shoe polish already. That's how I get my shoe polish. Then I also make sure I have my toothpaste, I have my smearing oil for maybe the roll-on, and at least I have my clothes in order to avoid any eventuality of looking shaggy. I am a person that cleanliness comes next to everything. Actually, it's always the first thing as far as my daily routine is concerned. Bathing in the morning, if it need be the midday and evening. So I'll make sure once I've taken care of that, then I buy my airtime for 100 or 200 shillings and make calls to Uganda and to colleagues that I want to call, because I know I won't call them again till next month. Then I go and do some small shopping because I'm living with my cousin. If I don't buy things in his house, the wife can mistake me to be a burden. So I'll go buy some 2 packets or 3 packets of unga, 2 kgs of rice. I bring some sugar, some 2 liters of cooking oil, then I bring in the house. So at least I'm set. I can now juggle. I'm going to survive on 4,000 or maybe 3,000 shillings left. So that's what I was saving literally. And I did that. So by the time I was resigning from Highgate, they paid me 2 months up front plus what I saved. So I had some little money. And I sent 20,000 shillings to my mom. That money was sent for mom to go and buy for me gold. Where we were living in Wanseko or in Bulisa, DRC Congo is just like from here in Mutwapa. It's 45 minutes across the Calvert and we are in DRC Congo. So traveling from the shores to the interior of Mahagi town, it takes us less than 2 hours. We are where you can buy minerals. So I sent money for mom to go. I thought she would either go to buy from Mahagi or she would go to another mineral market, a place called Ariwara or Aru. Unfortunately, war started. There was a rebel leader called, it was Wamba Dia Wamba. No, Jean-Pierre Bemba, who started that war. So there was no way I would again expect anything from mom. And you know, your mom with your money is like goat and greens. So she was the money there. So the little money I had with me is the one that I kept. And a friend of mine called David Oluoch, whom I met while at my brother's place, my cousin's place, he introduced me to sukari guru. Told me, why don't we be bringing sukari guru? Because my wife brings that. So I used to send money to Migori. They put for me sukari guru on Starliner bus. Then I receive it here in town and I go and sell. But I guess sukari guru became difficult because I had an experience that one time I took some woman in Congo market. Later on, when I went to ask for my money, I discovered this woman is multitasking. She begs during the morning, but in the afternoon, she's selling sukari guru. So she's exploiting people at the gate as a beggar in the morning. In the afternoon, she's a fully normal person who was.
Like you can't even tell that she's also a beggar.
Exactly. So when I realized the kind of person I'm dealing with, the story was done, I just abandoned that business. Then by the time I was quitting sukari guru, my mom had sent for me Kitenge from Uganda, saying that she can't send me gold because she can't risk life going to Congo. So she sent me Kitenge. So I began peddling Kitenge. I used to hawk Kitenge around. But again, Kitenge became difficult. I remember most of the clients were young ladies. And I had 2 scenarios that just made me get pissed off. One, there was this lady who used to claim she wants Kitenge from me. But every time I go, she tells me, come in. When I go into house, I find the way the house is arranged, the way she's dressed, was communicating something different. On another occasion, a woman took my Kitenge. When I go, I want to take the money. She tells me, we are going to my husband, she's in the house, but we are going to double the price. You have sold me one piece at 1,500. You are going to tell my husband one piece is 3,000. So we went. And here I am, a born again, a very innocent person. We lied, but fortunately God was on the side of the husband. Because the husband said, out of the 2 pieces she took, I'm supposed to give you 6,000, but now I only have 3,000. Now that 3,000 is exactly my genuine money, which I'm supposed to be getting. So when the husband gave that money, the woman wanted to accompany me so that she can remind me to come back and ask for the other balance for her. So as she was still trying to talk to the husband, and me, I was putting on my shoes at the gate, when I noticed she was delaying, I took off and left. That's how I stopped Kitenge.
You got discouraged.
I got discouraged, and I took the remaining pieces, just gave my aunt and told her, "Come on, Shona. If you give it to me, just give." That's how I put it. So I had to fall back into myself again, asking myself, what can I do?
And after all these challenges you're going through, trying to do Skalinguru, it didn't go well.
Yeah.
Even trading Kitenge, it also didn't go well.
Yeah.
You didn't feel like you should go back home to your mom?
I had repeated opportunities of going back to join the military in Uganda, because by that time Uganda was having war with Congo, and there was rampant recruitment going on in our village, and the only thing they required was a village, they call it local council one, or LC1's letter. My academic papers allowed me a qualification for a cadet.
Yeah.
So I was qualified to go and join. And on several occasions, I was thinking of going to join the military. But again, I would remember boys of the village that died in the military, those whose bodies would be brought at home. I would say, no, let me give myself another trial. I can't risk now.
Yeah.
So the last trial I made, and you see, my mind is always very flexible. I learned from my parents. If this dog,
if it doesn't work,
shift very fast. Because there was a situation one time at home when my dad is already sick. Fish is depreciating from the culvert. We are not getting enough fish. Then the fishermen go to fish using trawling net. I have heard in Victoria, the Luos call it rimba. In Uganda, it's called kokota. It's a very long net that you cast deep in the water and you pull from outside and food. So my father's fishermen went to fish, but unfortunately, instead of catching fish, a crocodile entered the net. So they pulled it out. Now, upon bringing it out, it was a challenge. It has torn the net, but it has been entangled inside the net. So they don't know what to do. So when it was brought out, they came and reported to my dad. Dad said, "I know where we can take the skin. But the meat, I don't know. So just go and skin it." Now, to avoid being found by the game rangers, they failed the entire crocodile. Because it was dead. They brought it home. Then it was skinned. After being skinned, now the meat was there. They were wondering what will they do with the meat. Then Mom remembers life in Congo, because we used to be in Congo sometimes back home. Then she says, "Okay, let's try and smoke the meat." So the meat is smoked in some smoking pits. We smoke fish to turn them brown, dry, in some smoking pits. I've seen the Luo Nyanza also.
They're called ubangla.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So the crocodile meat is put in that oven. It is smoked, dry. And the next crisis is, how will we take it to Congo? Because all the border posts have got military checkpoints. And by that time, Uganda had withdrawn police from the military, from the checkpoints, and had put UPDF soldiers because of the insurgency in Eastern Congo. So the meat is packed with some fish in a very big carton. So my mom cannot risk going because she's the only breadwinner left for the family. Dad is sick. So they had to sacrifice my elder brother. Let him go. And my elder brother is one innocent man who can never think of anything about him.
It just looks innocent.
Yeah. And Dad paid those fishermen. I remember they were paid like 16,000 shillings. So when the crocodile meat was taken to Congo, from a market called Arewala, after 1 week, my bro came back with 260,000. And everybody was like, "What? This croc was 16,000. Even before we sell the skin, the meat alone has given us 260,000. That's how we shifted from fishing to hunting crocodiles." Okay,
You have to change the business.
we were not hunting, but we were hiring hunters now to get them. We almost cleared crocodiles along the Nile.
And
Because
you
the market-
never caught?
No. The traps were well put. This was being done at night mostly.
Okay.
And that's what paid part of our school fees, by the way, because that was really down. And up to an A level, sort of paying our school fees. To supplement the fishing that I was doing. So that nature of life.
Yeah.
And my mom has been a woman that lays her hands on anything and everything. There was a time when there was no way out. She even went into picking shells. These snail shells in the lake. They were being bought by some people from Kampala, crushed for poultry feeds. She was picking them. She picked almost a truck full.
Just to make ends meet.
Yeah. So that nature of life. And we are told we must all learn to adapt. So because of that, I again thought, now what do I do? After Kitenge has failed in Mombasa, SUBCRIBE has failed, I've left Highgate.
And you don't even want to go.
I don't want to go back.
Because the option there is not good.
Yeah, and I can't go back to Uganda. Joining the military is not an option because I was following on BBC what's happening. The battle was getting fierce. So what I did, we met with Dave during one of the days, and he said, Peter, why don't we start our own school? It was during an anniversary of his wedding. And I said, yeah, we can start our own school. So it's just out of that discussion.
But Dave was a qualified teacher.
Yeah, Dave was by that time he was not a qualified teacher yet, because he went and did his PhD from a university later. But he was also teaching, but as an untrained teacher. He was teaching at Seaside Girls, and he was a deputy head teacher by that time. So what I did, we began saving some money monthly, around 4,000 shillings. So we were saving in his post office account. He had some post bank account. So we saved like for 3 months, and we again got reluctant and left. Then I said, why did I start a tuition center? So I went, printed an advert for tuition. So I would wake up at 4 and begin sticking on electricity posts and those public common walls where people pass. Do it everywhere in the entire Charani up to Changamu. And at the end of the day, I went and met somebody who was called Nyando. He was only in charge of Charani Social Hall. I paid him 3,000 shillings. Then I told Dave that I paid for this hall, we can do tuition. Dave was for the opinion. And again, funny enough, the whole of that month, we first got one kid who paid 800 shillings as a primary kid, grade 3. Another one came, only paid 1,000 shillings. So there was literally no way to think we can continue with this.
Yeah.
And we wanted to quit. But as we were thinking of quitting, it was again challenging because the parents of these two kids are people who are in the neighborhood. They know us. So if we make any mistake of abandoning these kids midway, they'll always know where to get us. So we said, let's just end the month with these kids, then we stop this. Because by the end of the month, their money shall have officially expired. Then we don't continue this nonsense.
So you're just doing it for the month to end?
Yeah. And it was very challenging because, you have to come like a teacher daily. You have to dress like a teacher daily, but you're getting nothing.
You're pushing yourself.
Exactly. And I would carry chairs, and the social hall was being misused by that time. I remember the most painful part. I would wake up from my brother's kitchen in the morning.
Your cousin?
At 4. Yeah, my cousin's kitchen. At 4. I come and sweep the social hall. I will get condoms, human waste, urine everywhere. I sweep that first, sprinkle water, make sure, because the hall was being used for all nonsense you can mention. So after I've cleaned it, then I go and carry chairs. And I come and arrange for it to look like a classroom. Then I sit now waiting for these kids to come. After I've already gone to take bath, then dress up like a teacher. Because between 4 and 6, I'm dressed in some funny attires. Once I'm done with that, then I come. So by the time we are planning to quit now, almost 3 days to end month for us to quit. Then there was fire in Asundi Girls in Homa Bay. That fire killed, if not 1, 2 students. And the Minister of Education by that time, Mutula Kilonzo, gave a verdict the following day that all extra remedial classes in public schools be banned with immediate effect. So the posters I used to stick around, there were people who are reading them, but since they had better options at public schools, they're not coming for these ones of mine.
Yeah.
So this time that the government had declared all those ones are not allowed, kids from Changamu Secondary, St. Charles Luanda, Kajele Secondary, some from as far as town, now began trying to see where is that paper that we read.
Yeah. Now they remember this.
Exactly, it's an option.
Yeah.
So when I came that day, after I brought the chairs, I swept the hall, arranged the chairs, and despite the fact that we used to have only one student, I was arranging 20 chairs daily. I would bring 20. Just having hopes, because there's no way you can put a single chair.
Yeah,
So I wanted it looked like a classroom.
Yeah.
But there was nobody. I think that was just an act of faith.
Yeah.
Then suddenly from nowhere, I come in the morning, I find a crowd. They're like, "We are looking for this teacher who teaches here. Where is he?" I said, "Okay, I'm coming," because I had not dressed like one. So I went, made sure I looked like one. Then I came, I said, "Okay."
But that time you're still alone, or Mr. David?
Well, with Dave, but David was not always in that place. David was teaching.
Okay.
So he was only waiting in case there's something meaningful to join me. So I called him. I told him, "You come." So he rushed and he came, and that's how we did that. So we moved from earning 1,800 the whole month, and he began earning 35,000 weekly.
That's good.
So that went on. Then after some weeks, after some months, we were flushed out of Chinese Social Hall because there was I think the immigration department wanted to use some of those rooms for issuance of national IDs. Sorry. So because of that, they requested that we leave for the room we were using. So we had to leave, and we went to Mijabu Secondary. Mijabu Primary. So we did the same thing at Mijabu. The teachers of Mijabu Primary became jealous. The head teacher was called Mr. Kamau, and the deputy was Madam Kibibi, who is still there. Those two were very friendly to us, but the teachers who were below them became jealous, and they demanded us to be flushed out. So Kamau called us and told us, "There's no way these teachers are demanding you to be gone out."
Just like that?
They said they can't have other teachers from other places can't teach kids and earning money in their premises, yet they can also teach. So we flashed out of Mijabu. We came to Kwahola. At Kwahola, we took some days. I thank God for one madam. She's now at Kitenge Primary. She's called Madam Kasimba, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, she's now a completed at Kwahola. Then from Kwahola, we began looking for where to put up a school. Now that's where the vision of the school came up.
Okay. So you didn't want to do the tuition, now you wanted to
Yeah.
school.
So we moved around. The school was supposed to put in Mikindani. We never got a place in Mikindani. I think there was a time we walked all of Mikindani, close up to Bangala on foot, looking for a building. We did not get. Then when we came here, one day when I was seated, I used to speak big, but there was a time I remember I'm out of my cousin's kitchen and I'm sitting at the veranda. Then I'm seeing the building that we were going to put up the school in. And I told my brother, "Oh, you know what? We want to put up a school in that building. It was a story building." So he looked at me and told me, "Sometimes you talk like another person." I told him.
Because he knows like you don't have money.
Yeah, I'm sleeping in his kitchen. I don't have money.
How can you honor?
He was very authentic in what he was saying.
Okay.
Because everything I was saying was not making sense, and there was no logic in it. So it was at this point that.
And you also never discouraged what people are saying.
No, me, you can speak anything.
Okay.
I don't always get discouraged. Actually, I have learned a lot through my life in high school. When I was going through leadership, all my leadership, I was a leader in high school from Form 1. My entire high school life, I was a student leader. And some of the positions I would get, actually all my positions were elective positions. And funny enough, some of them I was elected in abstention. I just go issue my campaign strategy, then I leave, and I was elected later. So because of that, I think by the time I was coming to Kenya, I was the district UNSA, called it UNSA chairperson, the former larger Arua district. That's when I left coming to Kenya. So because of that, it took me some days, and we met the owner of the house. Actually, his agent. It was like a caretaker. A gentleman called Joe. We talked. But when we wanted to begin finding out from the neighbors were like, that house has got my gene. People have abandoned that house because it's believed to be demons. Said now, that's exactly what we are looking for because we are born again.
Okay.
So we entered the building, we paid the rent.
You had that faith, like nothing.
Yeah, actually we were so much prepared to meet the devil. So we entered the building. The interior was highly dilapidated. It was not painted. So we got ourselves prepared, bought paints, then went home and put on our fishing clothes, came back. Some funny attires. We painted the interior of that building ourselves.
Just you and Mr. Dave?
Me and Dave.
Okay.
Dave had some, I can remember, I had some trousers which he had cut into a short.
Because that time we couldn't afford to.
Yeah, I couldn't afford to pay something. So we painted the entire interior.
Okay.
Then bought some plastic chairs, and we had some wooden tables we had bought. By the time we were finishing all this, the only money left was 3,000. We paid somebody to write up there, Mikadini Complex High School.
Wow.
And the first person I met was a friend of mine. I thought he was a friend. We had talked with him at Musufini. So I met him and I told him, bro, we're putting up a school in this building, so please help me do marketing. The guy looked at me and was like, are you crazy? Who do you think will bring their kid in this school? This building with demons.
Someone you thought was your friend?
He was my friend.
Okay.
Those words sank into me like a hot ball of fire.
Because someone you know, someone you call your friend.
Then later on again, I could hear people speaking negativity about the school. But we went against all those tides and continued. When schools were opening, there were some adults who used to tuition in preparation to do exams ahead of time. Those who had left school sometimes back and wanted to do the KCSE exams, so were tuitioning them. So there were like 4 or 5 of them. So it is through them that we kept maintaining ourselves as we're waiting for students. Then our first student came, a guy called Janet Anyango. And we continued with her. Within that very week, second one came, third one came. I remember in that period of the first student coming, my mom visited.
She came from Uganda?
She came from Uganda.
Okay.
And her motive were 2. If I'm doing nothing, she'll go back with me. So when she came, I didn't want to take her because I had now moved out of my brother's kitchen. I was now living alone. And I did not want to take her to where I'm living because that house had nothing except a mattress on the ground and 2 jerrycans of water which I was sitting on, and a stove.
And you didn't want her to see how you...
I didn't want her, yeah, exactly. Then also the curtains I bought, I never bought those things. Actually, I remember my mattress was a funny one that if you lie on it when you wake up, your shape remains there. You have to change the other side so that depression does not appear. So I didn't want to take mom into my room. And when we were passing that place with my aunt asked my mom, do you know where your son lives? Like, no, he lives here. Then mom is like, can you see where you are living? So we go with her. I remember that time I bought, we call them kangunu, these donuts kind of. I bought those and I prepared strong tea. You know, you are here being called a director or something at school somewhere, but you literally have nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what mom took. And she blessed the place. And she had no reason not to go with me to Uganda. And even me, I had conviction that I'm not going to do the military work. I'm not going to Uganda. And after she left, the second student came. We ended the year with 100 students.
Wow.
The second year, we were clocking 200 plus. The third year was the year we admitted around 100 and something.
The same building that people were saying.
Yeah, the same building, exactly. And we used to pray like nobody's business in that building.
Oh, that's nice.
And even where I used to live, people knew me for that.
Okay.
I think those who fellowship with me in JCC, the West Charlie Center, can attest that my prayer time has always been at 4 in the morning. And I don't pray in silence. I pray if there are no obstacles, 1 kilometer away, you'll hear me praying.
Okay.
So we maintained that. By 2014, we opened another branch in Magongo.
Oh, that's nice.
And we went ahead. 2015 was operating. Then 2016, some crisis struck. There was a supervisor of KCSE who misbehaved. Actually, we had nothing to do with his mischiefs in our center at Magongo. Then he brought us issues with NEC. So because of that, the NEC officials came and issued closure to the main branch of our school here now. But luckily enough, it formed when I had landed some luck. That's God's grace. I was passing in this field. This was a large field full of metallic objects that were aimed at, meant for some fertilizer factory, which was never built. So when the metallic objects were removed, the locals around were partitioning this field. So me, I was passing. While passing, I find they have already finished their meeting, they want to leave. Then one woman says, can somebody pray for us? But nobody was willing to pray. Then I just said, okay. I think it was my uncle who pushed me and said, you claim to be born again, you go and pray for people.
And you don't even know those people?
Yeah, okay. There are people I know as members of society.
Oh.
So when I said, okay, let us pray, I prayed for them. So the next day also when I'm passing, I had now to stop because now at least there are people I knew yesterday.
Yeah.
So I talked again, when they are again ending, they said, can somebody pray for us, that pastor of yesterday? So they nicknamed me a pastor. I again prayed. The fourth meeting, they were partitioning this place. Then that very woman who said, can you pray for us? She was called Mama Virginia. She says, there's no way you people will say this place is over without this pastor getting a place. So they grabbed my hand and brought me this space behind here. I was given for free.
Just because you prayed?
Because I prayed. She brought me and said, here, you buy your metallic. So I paid 1,500 for buying the metal bars for the beacon. That's how I got this. And now after buying that, after being given this, so I began buying for my neighbors. So by 2016, I had bought the equivalent of this entire compound that you see today. So when that crisis struck and the ministry demanded us to leave that structure of Migadini complex, I had an option.
And before we forget, are there any challenges maybe you faced when you were starting the school, like with the teachers or with the students or even the parents?
Yeah. We had a lot of challenges. Challenge number one was with the ministry administration. Yeah, you know, the school was in a story building, which was not built as a school. It was built for residential purposes. So registration was a problem. That's number one. Challenge number two, we had issues with the. You see, sometimes in Mombasa, when you are running a private school, a low-cost private school, some of the students you get are not those ones that are from well-off backgrounds.
Yeah.
You get those that are being brought to school as an optional course.
Yeah.
Kids who want to drop out, but
they just push you.
Yeah, so sometimes indiscipline also was there. We had a lot of cases of such, but we thank God we maneuvered and finished. The best thing was that I was prepared for the task. If we could meet the students I taught those years, and you ask any of them, I think that was the time I gained most. Because to train those kids, it was training morning to sunset, and I was tough. There was no nonsense. From Monday to Saturday, we even had Sunday classes. Yeah, that's how we could tell them and bring them into order. But we managed to run with them until they finished. Some of them are graduates right now. Some are businessmen and women around. We meet, interact well. So when we came here, by 2017, we shared the schools. The one in Magongo was taken by Dave. Me, I remained with this one here. So Dave ran one in Magongo. He changed the name from Migadini Complex to Prince High School. I changed the name of this one from Migadini Complex to Elite Imperial Complex. So that's what I manage alongside other small side hustles. We have a bookshop we run around.
Oh, that's nice.
And I also do timber import from Uganda. I sell around. So those are my major things I do.
I think that's very impressive. Like, it's so inspiring.
So what can you tell the youth that they are also going through what you went through after you were able to shift from Uganda to come to Kenya? Some of you were never even born and raised. You didn't even have an ID, but you managed to stay and stick around even after all the challenges you went through, but you never gave up or even wanted to go back home to your mom.
Okay, yeah, just to correct, Kenya is my home.
Somewhere you're not raised.
Yeah. Kenya is my home. There's that mistake by people always mistake me to be a Ugandan.
Okay. Even
yes.
your accent.
Yeah, I have Ugandan citizenship. I have the Congolese citizenship.
Okay.
And I have the Kenyan citizenship.
Okay.
But my ancestry is Kenyan. My mom is a pure Kenyan. My dad is a pure Kenyan.
Okay.
The others are just by the fact that I lived or raised in those areas.
Yeah.
Now, to tell the youths, number one is if you're fighting all your battles, try to avoid the thought of a soft landing spot, a plan B. Because every time you have a plan B, you will always think quitting every day that you're meeting. And thinking of, I would rather go back. Even prayers fail because of that. Because you are here trying to pray, but at the back of your consciousness, you have got a thought that if God does not answer me on time, I'll call my uncle. Or I'll relocate to my brother or sister. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, there are elements that if you truly know you are aiming at something, you have to put away from yourself. One is, let everybody who is going to associate with you be speaking, living, thinking, reading, and naturally let them be reflecting the image of what you want to be. You cannot say you are dreaming of changing your home, but the closest people around you are guys who are celebrating every now and then. In nightclubs, celebrating, in chewing cards everywhere. I had such friends, by the way, when I just arrived. There are these guys who want to take me around. And for your information, when I came to Mombasa, I took 5 years in Mombasa without knowing where Irex Beach is, without knowing where Fort Jesus is. Okay. The only place my aunt, the late, took me was at Nicole Ferries. And from the time she passed on, after I relocated from my place, my first aunt that I came through, I had no interest of seeking to know any other place for pleasure and leisure. My interest was, where can I get money? And how can I change where I'm coming from? Because I managed to do two things that my biggest dreams were. One was to establish a business in Mombasa, which I did not just establish one, but three. I've not told you I'm also matatu business. And then, apart from that, was to relocate my mom. By 2019, by 2014, after all this fracas going on, I went back to Uyoma and talked to the elders. They told me to invite my elder brother to come. He came. We negotiated. We were given 3.7 acres. By 2019, we started construction. 2020, we picked my mother from Uganda, sent a van to go and carry her with everything. And she's now in Uyoma. So we brought her back. And I also managed to bring back my last born brother. He's here with me. Actually, he teaches here. So there are only two. Those two are running their businesses in Kampala, but they're frequent visitors to Kenya. And those are my target, to bring the family back. I brought the family back. I can call that an achievement. And to get an establishment in Kenya, which I've already made. So the people you associate with, you cannot associate with people whose songs, actions, dressing code, leisure, and everything is contrary to what your dreams are. So you just have to, you have to look at your friends first. Exactly. I don't have, I have one problem, that my time for getting home is always 6 or 7 in the evening. I don't go past 8 unless I'm in a church gathering somewhere, or I'm meeting somebody at a family house somewhere.
Like you have to have self-discipline. Even
I do not have that aspect of saying we are discussing football, politics, or meeting over drinks somewhere. That is not productive. No, I don't do that. I've just trained myself never to be part of such. And I tried everything. By the way, even when I was running with Dave in the school, I've tried very many businesses alongside that. I have had water kiosk in Migadini. I have gone ahead. I even had a registered pharmacy. I used to have a pharmacy at Lilongwe, plants for trees. So all these things I've been doing them because I was trained that anytime you feel that you have got some extra time, convert it into how to make money. And that's what I try to do. If people do claim that there are no jobs, honestly speaking, there are no jobs. Let nobody lie to you that will get a job which is prepared. The jobs which are there have good people. You only have to display your quality to displace those people.
Exactly.
Nobody is going to fire someone to hire you if you are not proving that you're better than those already hired.
Yeah.
So you have to prove. You see, like when I went to Highgate, I got these guys who are having papers and everything, but I outsmarted them in my loyalty to the administration, commitment, and how I was directing the kids. That's what beat everybody. So I even tell my staffs here sometimes that today I have about 13 staffs. I tell them today you are here, you are earning salary. Sometimes I do tell them the salary I'm paying you I've never earned myself throughout my time when I was working. I never earned that, but I'm paying you that. The secrets, if I tell you to emulate the same thing, you will feel no, you can't.
Yeah.
Because to you, you want to come and you begin quoting for me labor laws. You begin quoting for me your rights.
Yeah.
You know, the higher you go in the ladders of life, the more you lose your rights.
Exactly.
You don't want to be insulted. You don't want to be called names. You don't want to be exploited. You will never go high.
Yeah.
There is a time when you just have to say, okay, let them do what they can, but as long as I'm getting my target and I benefit from what I want, you move like that. So that is what I can tell any young person around. And then also learn to prioritize your finances.
Yeah.
I do make sure I prioritize where to put money. Funny enough, my businesses plus the assets are worth millions, but funny enough, I have never had $1 million in my account. Because every single cent that comes to me always has where to go. Like right now, I've got more than 3 sensitive business ideas that I'm just waiting for money to come and I put in. So I keep on thinking at least like that. Every time when you are happy and settled or free, try to look for where can I get another penny tomorrow from, and lay hands on anything. Because if you try to become choosy, that's what many youths have always seen. Who come here, I've employed some of them. You find somebody is very choosy. There are even some who come here and begin telling me how things are done. And I listen to them.
They start teaching you.
Yeah, there are a lot of time here trying to teach me. I listen to them because one thing, I'm always a listener. I'll listen to you. But when it's due time, I'll tell you what some cannot work.
Okay.
So that's what I can tell any young person. Number one, don't have a fallback spot. Just say no, I'm not going to quit. I copied that from Napoleon Bonaparte, the great, he was a European warlord. In history is quoted to have said, every time you cross a bridge in war, blow that bridge immediately. So that when the soldiers are fighting, they don't think of crossing back. There's no option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. As you're winding up, other people maybe you want to appreciate that they supported you all through this journey, that everything you went through, they were there to push you, they were there to support everything you're doing. Maybe you'll just be mentioning their names, or you'll just be appreciating what they did for you.
I have got people that I always say, if I mention my journey without mentioning them, I'll be unfair. One of such people is Mr. David Olwach.
Okay.
David Olwach was very instrumental in my upbringing.
Okay.
Because I also came without proper understanding of administration. He never taught me how to talk to people.
Okay.
He taught me, even literally taught me how to dress.
Oh, nice.
He taught me a lot of things. And he's this man who has got that grace of telling you things the way they are. I remember there was a time, you know, I was already a director, but I did not know how to dress like one.
Okay.
And we are working with him, and I'm putting on some trousers that if you iron, you see the marks shining into this nylon material. And he looks at me telling me, Peter, you know, sometimes don't learn to teach yourself how to dress. You dress and
he just tells you point blank.
Yeah, point blank. And
okay.
Surely, is this what is putting me here? And if he has nothing, once he has told you, he keeps nothing about it. That's all. So I really appreciate. I am what I am to some very big extent because of Dave.
Okay.
And then my biggest appreciation is to my students.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, the students, those are my brothers, those are my sisters. Because for the years I've been here, they have been the biggest companion
Okay.
to me. I've learned a lot through them. Those who are in business world, we're still training them. We meet, there are some that have brought their brothers back here. I celebrate my students everywhere. Actually, every time I see each one of them, any one of them succeeding, I just feel like it is another quiver, another arrow into my quiver.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you feel proud of everything that you've done since you shifted from Uganda to take this chance and come to stay in Kenya and start a new life here?
If I say I am proud, I'll be closing my expectations.
Okay.
I can say I have started well. Because to me, all what I've done, I call it a start. It's not a climax, not even halfway what my dream is. Actually, I feel that I'm late in many things as far as my journey is concerned. This school is not where I expect it to be by now. The other businesses I'm running are not where I expect them to be. And I can just say I'm on the right course, but I pray that time and the grace of God will allow me to achieve the other things that I've been dreaming about. Yeah.
And what legacy would you want to leave behind? Like, what do you want people to remember you for? Like, Mr. Peterside was this kind of person when he was here. Like, what do you want people to remember you for?
My biggest problem in life is having information that I don't share. That's my biggest problem in life. I like everything that I have learned. It is me to share it out. So I want to be remembered for one thing. Somebody who has inspired so many, and somebody who has nurtured so many to come out of their comfort zone, to come out of their painful background, to come out of their state of bondage, both psychologically or physically, and achieve more than what they thought they would ever achieve in life. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We are going to close the show now. Thank you so much for coming, and we really appreciate for your stay. And I'm sure your story has really inspired someone outside here, because there's so many people who are going through the same thing you've gone through, or some people who are even giving up in life, because there are so many cases of people committing suicide. They're giving up in life, but I know your story to inspire someone outside here. And for everyone who is watching, we really appreciate for your stay. We really appreciate for staying tuned up to now that we are winding up the show. And please don't forget to subscribe and share. And please tell a friend to tell a friend. Touch us all outside there by just showing their videos, showing this video. I'm sure it's going to inspire someone. Thank you so much. We really appreciate. And we're going to close the show.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.